Hi, I am Brett Dupree, your Joyous Expansion Life Coach. I have no idea why I started off that way. That was weird. I'm being weird. Yes, I am Brett Dupree, your Joyous Expansion Life Coach, looking clearer than usual. My phone must not be covered in schmutz? I don't know my Yiddish very well. Well, hello! Today I'm talking about spiritual bypassing, or using your spirituality to escape reality instead of bypassing. Not talking about bypassing, talking about the second one. Yesterday, if you watched yesterday's live video, I talked about how you serve and how you do everything, and I mentioned something along the lines how spirituality can both serve and how you use it, and it can also hurt. It could be to a detriment. But the idea is spirituality can be a detriment in the sense of many ways. It can cause you to be judgmental towards people, to look at people who think different than you, and to pity them or think down upon them. Pretty much tribalism, utilizing spirituality and your spiritual circle as your tribe, and thus doing nothing no different than, let's say, a sports team getting together and thinking, yeah, those people over there, they're our enemies. But the difference is, it's like, yeah, I read The Secret. The people over there, they're my enemies. So basically, the idea of my story is, I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking of actually a good example of how I use spiritual bypassing, or how I use my spirituality, my belief in law of attraction, all that fun stuff, and things happen for a reason, to actually not do anything. One perfect example is my podcast, the Joyous Expansion Podcast. You can go there at pod.joyousexpansion.com. One thing that I would put off a lot is asking for guests, especially at first. I would just kind of want to put it out there and have the idea that the guests would come to me, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be type thing. And there would be something in the back of my mind as I would push through and work on getting guests for my podcast. And while, yes, I reached out every once in a while, but my hope was just putting it out there, it would come back to me without much effort. And the reason why I did it that way is to avoid rejection. I don't like being rejected. I'm a pretty normal human being, not a fan of rejection. I tend to not take rejection well. It's one of the reasons why the Joyous Expansion isn't global and working on it, because basically the idea is dealing with that disappointment is not easy for me. And one way I avoid that disappointment of rejection is putting a nice, shiny law of attraction, spirituality side to it, like almost a sheen to cover up the fact that reality is, maybe, if you just ask 100 people, maybe 10 of them will say yes to your podcast, and then you'd have 10 guests or so. And dealing with it that way, other than thinking like, oh, if I just put it out there and people come and everything will work out and the perfect guests will be there, and not really putting the work into it. So yeah, that's just one example of utilizing that. And there's many ways to do that. There's, a lot of Christian people use God and the universe so they don't have to deal with their own issues. A lot of, I'm sure, Muslims, I don't really know very many, but I'm assuming that this is not just New Age and Christian, that pretty much any religion has this, or any spiritual belief system has this way of asking you to kind of disengage from reality and not truly embrace what's really going on, and making it so you don't have to do something action-y. I mean, action is important. So basically, that's what I wanted to say, is for you to look at your spiritual beliefs and look at where they're causing you to kind of shield actually doing work or dealing with an issue and saying it's time to let go and let God instead of letting go and going talking to a therapist so you can actually deal with the issue. Ask yourself those hard questions. And as I said yesterday, work on positive, let go of the negative, and continually to do that, and your life will be amazing. I am Brett Dupree, your Joyous Expansion Life Coach. Here, once again, to remind you to be love, to be joy, to be awesome. I wish it just ended with a thumbs up and I could just program that in so you don't see me pointing like this and then trying to turn it off.